Thank you. Hello, everyone. As introduced, I'm from Jakarta, Indonesia. We actually like to. By the way, I'm sorry, I have to do a shameless plug of my country. So here you will see some pictures along the way. Um, so also, my flight here was. I think we like to. We're hungry for number ones. I think I'm in the run here for the longest flight to get here. So I took a flight that is almost 20 hours. and so my company, Progress, is a Atlassian solution partner. Where, of course, we're operated in Indonesia. I think you'll see that we actually love eazyBI. Especially the team have supported us in projects throughout the years. And of course, I have pictures. It's Raymond and Nauris here talking in Jakarta for our events for 2 years now. So thank you as well. And here I am. Hopefully, I can return the favor. Before we get into our experience with working the customer, we have a disclaimer, legal stuff. The customer is very shy. They don't want us to name their company. Also, of course, as long as no actual data is shared. Unfortunately, everything that I share here is using dummy data, but hopefully it will be still as useful. The start of projects. The challenge was that before that, actually about the customer. It's actually one of the prominent bank. They're focusing on community banking actually. They're going into our villages and the community and small businesses. They're also actually a subsidiary of a leading bank. Oops. Didn't mean to do that. They're a subsidiary of a leading bank, and so they're operating in a much, not much, but a little bit smaller scale than their parent. But yeah, they're based on community. Anyway, the project was they actually used or wanted to use Jira Service Management, Service Desk at the time, to replace their system for complaint handling. If customer complains, then they want to track it in Jira. They actually use the call center system, but they wanted to integrate because their software team, of course, use Jira, Jira software for that matter. And all reports were done with, I say here, you know what, I don't want to name it, but you know it's Excel. All reports were done with Excel, so they needed, of course, a better system to do the reports, especially if you can do it automatically. This is one of the requirements, actually. It's actually someone in the customer actually creatively created this. We want this dashboard in Jira, so we took up the challenge. And of course, obviously, because their system was a bit standalone at the time, so it needed a breakthrough, and we introduced Jira for their Service Desk. Eventually, the project actually was organized into 3 phases because it was getting a little bit big. So the phase 1 was our initial JSM and eazyBI implementation. We handled all the migrations from the old system, and then we built the base for the rest of the projects. So phase 2 was a little bit interesting, but I will leave it out today because it's mostly about integrating with their SMS, we still use SMS unfortunately, for their the notifications to the customers about the status of their complaints or updates. And then the last phase was actually a little bit bigger. So actually, they also use ServiceNow for their internal IT service management. So they want to actually integrate everything. So a complaint may involve their software team as well as the IT team for infrastructure. So that's why they are feeding in data from all sides now into Jira Service Management. Of course, there's also a little bit more dashboard and reporting requirements. Right, so that means actually now we have at least 3 data sources. We have ServiceNow feeding into JSM, and we also still have some manual data from Excel. And now we needed to do something about it. So, but in addition, this is a customer who are used to Excel, so this is actually one of the reports that they request us to complete in eazyBI. So even though I know eazyBI has powerful tools and charts and whatnot, they still want to see a table. So we have to comply. Of course, we can do that, so why not? So another thing is also that when we talk about SLA with the customer, it turns out that they mean is they're counting SLA as an elapsed time, so it's counting up. Whereas in Jira, it's normally it's counting down. It's the remaining time, but apparently they want to use elapsed time, and that's what they're used to. So, okay, so that's also another challenge. So we need to somehow convert the timer in Jira into the countdown in Jira into the timers. So, what's the journey? Also a fun fact. This is one of the active volcanoes in Java Island. You know that we are actually have a large population when you can see a lot of people standing very near to the volcano. Yeah, yeah, it's a famous place. Also, there are many people there. So, anyway, at first, so how we actually convert the Jira's SLA. So at first, our team got very creative. So as you can see here, it's a very long MDX. They use the different in hours and then using the between the close date and the issue created date and find the difference. And then for the, I believe this is for the minutes or the days, and then times it 60 to get the hours, I mean. And then, after they get the running minutes, they actually use the and divide it again to translate it into the units that we use. Jam just means hour, and then for the minutes, which is well, it looks great, but as it turns out, there's an easier way to do it. So the last one was to measure the duration in days and hours. But yeah, after we dig out the combination, actually eazyBI does have an elapsed hour. So yeah, we didn't have to do all of that. So yeah, after we did use that, and then of course we did get the same SLA, and finally also as a bonus, the customer also wanted to categorize into buckets for or intervals for their number of issues that are completed in interval period. So for example, they want to see how many issues were actually completed or resolved within 1 day, and then how many issues between 1 to 7 days, and etc. So we actually use the eazyBI's also built-in function of intervals. And in this case, we wanted to, as I said, be below 1 day, 1 to 7, 8 to 14, and then above 15 days. So we simply input it on 1, 8, and 15, which is very easy to do. Right, and the results, of course, finally, the customer get the key insights unblocked. In conclusion, fun fact, we also have one of the, I believe, only 7 pink beaches in the world. And yes, the results, so this is what the customers have said. So they finally have better insight of what's going on in the operational level, and then, of course, faster decision making and improved SLAs as a result. So what are the lessons learned? So one is very important is to clearly define the required metrics with the customer. So sit down with the customer, have the discussion. Again, if we started to assume something, then it's probably you'll probably be in danger later on, because, for example, we talk about SLAs, but it turns out the SLAs elapsed time counting up. If we didn't sit down with the customer before and discuss all the metrics and the definitions of the metrics, then we could have caught a little bit in a hard situation later on. So number 2 is to clearly define your data sources. With actually, in this project, we're quite lucky. We didn't have actually to access the data directly into other systems. So what happens is they actually wanted to synchronize data from ServiceNow into Jira. So we actually got help with 2 of our marketplace friends as well, ScriptRunner and Elements Connect. So those 2 actually help bringing all the information that we need into Jira. So in this case, our eazyBI implementation is actually only gathering data from the Jira database only. And then number 3 is also important, but maybe sometimes you forget to only import that you need. Be careful about the whether you need the custom fields as just measures, or you want it as a dimension as well, or properties. It's very important. And then, of course, as we actually experience, there may be a better or faster and easier or more efficient way to do it. Like our team did find out before, rather than using the long formula, we have actually a much simpler built-in way. And then, of course, you need to validate with the customer again. Don't forget to do that. You need to validate with a source of truth that where the customer has trust to validate all the data, all the metrics that you actually loaded is correct. And with that said, and we're back to Jakarta itself. By the way, don't ask me about the what's new, what will be broken in Jakarta and Java. We just land the name, so it's not on ours. But yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you. And do we have any questions?
So I like how your company and eazyBI make the same spelling mistakes.
Yes.
But the question I have is, in this project, you were just introducing the reporting capabilities, or you were doing something more? And also an interesting area for me is how is the bank happy with having eazyBI to combine several different data sources? I'm asking because we're working with banks as well and many large customers, and we bump into this quite a lot. And the question I have in the back of my head is, how does eazyBI compare in client's view, not in terms of the strict functionalities, but in client's view, to Power BI, which we see and use more and more? And I don't expect you to have the exact answer to this, but basically I'm asking, has the customer been considering Power BI at the same time, or some other tools, and why did eazyBI win?
Right. Okay, I'll answer the second question first because that's, I think, more interesting. So what happens is eazyBI was selected for that specific team. So the customer actually still, I believe they still use Power BI simultaneously, but it's for the other teams. So what they like about it is because these teams, including the Jira, the software teams and the IT teams, and of course the customer handling teams now, they already use Jira. Yeah. So what they love about it is they don't have to go out. So it's in their Jira, and they don't have to switch to many different apps for that. Sure. And I'm sorry, what was your first question?
Have you been doing something else except just introducing eazyBI?
Oh, right. Yes. For this project, actually, our biggest hurdle, I would say, is that the SMS integration. So it's also an interesting experience for us because they actually use, apparently they have their own SMS server, And then it's not a public server as you would. They also have their own APIs that is, I would say, a bit more private. So that was the interesting part because we need to work with the the API that was available. So yeah, that was an interesting experience.
Thank you.
No worries.
More questions?
Do you have any suggestions how we could, so you explained this case that you built some complex solution and then you found that we already have some standard solution for that. So any suggestions how to make these standard solutions more visible to partners, customers, or just you started with this complex one because it's interesting to build something complex and not use something predefined.
Yes, that was unfortunate, but actually, because it was actually done, it was the first phase of the project, so it was done actually a few years ago. But now you already have the AI assistant and then the training as well. That I think that's already helpful. So for our next project, hopefully our team will actually readily use the assistant feature, and then it will actually, I would say, suggest the most efficient way instead of the long way.
Thanks a lot, Kennie, for your presentation.
Thank you.